The morning sun poured through the glass walls of the Today with Jenna and Friends studio, bouncing off sleek white furniture and the polished coffee mugs that gleamed beneath the studio lights. Katherine Heigl walked in with the calm grace of someone who had done this 100 times before. Her blonde hair framed her face perfectly, her smile radiant but measured, the kind of smile that said, "I'm here to promote my work, not my past." Dressed in a tailored cream blazer and soft blue blouse, she looked every bit the seasoned Hollywood professional. The audience erupted in applause as Jenna Hager introduced her guest. She's a Golden Globe nominee, a rom-com icon, and the star of Netflix's newest drama series, Second Chances. Please welcome Katherine Heigl. Katherine waved politely, taking her seat across from Jenna. The first few minutes went smoothly, laughter flowed easily as they talked about the new show. Katherine described her character, a mother struggling to rebuild her life after betrayal, with the kind of insight that only comes from experience. "It's a story about resilience," she said warmly. "About letting go of the image people create for you and reclaiming your own narrative." Jenna nodded, clearly impressed. "That's beautiful. And honestly, Katherine, I think a lot of people will see themselves in that message. You've had such an incredible career: Grey's Anatomy, 27 Dresses, Knocked Up, so many iconic roles." Katherine smiled modestly. "I've been really fortunate, yes." But then, the tone shifted. Jenna glanced down at her notes, and her expression grew a touch more serious. "You know," she began carefully, "a lot of people have been talking about your comeback lately, how you've sort of reinvented yourself. But there's also been a lot of conversation about, well, your reputation in Hollywood. The difficult label. Do you think that's something you've had to overcome to get where you are today?" Katherine's smile faltered, her expression tightening just slightly. She took a sip of coffee, buying a moment before responding. "That word again," she said with a low chuckle, one that didn't quite reach her eyes. "It's funny, isn't it? Men in this industry are called brilliant, strong-minded, or visionary when they speak up. But when a woman does it, she's suddenly difficult." The audience offered a few tentative laughs, but the tension in the room was tangible. Jenna shifted uncomfortably in her seat, trying to clarify. "Oh, of course, I didn't mean it like that. I think people are just curious about." Katherine cut in sharply but without raising her voice. "Curious about what, exactly? About how long a woman has to keep apologizing for not smiling while being mistreated? About how we're supposed to just stay quiet because it makes others more comfortable?" The crowd went still. Even Jenna seemed caught off guard by the raw edge in Katherine's tone. Jenna attempted to recover, keeping her voice light. "I just think some fans are surprised because, you know, your former coworkers have mentioned." "My former coworkers?" Katherine interrupted, arching an eyebrow. "You mean the ones who didn't like that I spoke up about working 18-hour days and unfair conditions? That's the thing, no one talks about what caused those moments. They just repeat a label." Her words hit like a hammer. Jenna tried to smile through it, but Katherine wasn't done. "Do you have any idea what it's like to spend over a decade having your name dragged through every interview, every article, every late-night joke? I've done the work. I've apologized when I didn't even need to. I'm tired of it." The studio air felt heavy now. Even the camera operators seemed frozen. Jenna's co-hosts exchanged nervous glances from the sidelines, unsure whether to intervene. "I came here to talk about my work," Katherine continued, her voice unwavering but her hands clenched in her lap. "But somehow, it always circles back to this tired narrative. You don't see that happening to men. You never see someone ask George Clooney why he's difficult." Jenna tried to laugh lightly, but it came out strained. "You're absolutely right, and I didn't mean to." Katherine leaned forward, her tone soft but firm. "It's okay, Jenna, I know you didn't mean to offend me. But maybe that's the problem. People don't mean to, yet they keep doing it anyway." The audience didn't know whether to applaud or hold their breath. Some clapped hesitantly. Katherine sat back, visibly frustrated but composed. "If this is what a friendly chat looks like," she said quietly, "maybe I made a mistake coming here at all." Jenna blinked, speechless for the first time that morning. The camera stayed fixed on Katherine's face, calm, defiant, unflinching, as the studio lights seemed to burn a little brighter. No one knew it yet, but that single moment, that sentence, was about to set the internet on fire. The studio was frozen in stunned silence. You could almost hear the hum of the lights above as Katherine Heigl's words hung in the air. Jenna Hager blinked, trying to collect herself, her smile faltering for the first time all morning. Katherine, I think you've made some great points about Hollywood and the double standards, Jenna began, her voice measured, calm, almost pleading for a smooth transition. But Katherine wasn't in the mood to be pacified. She leaned back in her chair, eyes steady, the hint of exhaustion flickering behind them. Double standards, she repeated, a faint, incredulous laugh escaping her. It's not just double standards, Jenna. It's an entire system built on silencing women when they finally decide to speak up. The audience murmured softly, unsure whether to applaud or sit still. Jenna tried to nod, maintaining her composure. Of course, I agree with you completely, she said quickly. And I think that's why your new series resonates so deeply. But Katherine interrupted again, her tone cutting through the attempted pivot. You know what's funny? Every time I sit in one of these chairs, it starts out with talk about my work. But by the end, it always comes back to me, my so-called attitude, my reputation, my tone. She looked directly at Jenna. Why is that the story people want to tell about women like me? Jenna hesitated, clearly trying to diffuse the tension without derailing the show completely. I think people are just curious because you were such a huge figure in Hollywood for so long. They want to understand your side. Katherine smiled tightly. My side, she said softly. My side's never been hard to find, people just never wanted to listen. The studio audience began clapping, slowly at first, then louder. Katherine gave a faint nod of thanks but didn't seem pleased by the reaction. It wasn't validation she wanted, it was respect. Jenna tried again to recover. I think it's powerful that you're using your platform now to tell your story in your own words. But before she could finish, Katherine stood up abruptly. The sudden movement drew a startled gasp from the audience. No, Jenna, she said firmly, adjusting her blazer. I'm not here to perform strength or give tidy soundbites. I came here to talk about my show, about storytelling, about second chances. Instead, I'm back defending my character, again. She looked toward the crew, her expression cool but resolute. I think we're done here. The tension snapped like a live wire. Jenna blinked in disbelief, trying to salvage the moment. Katherine, wait, please. But it was too late. Katherine was already unhooking her microphone, handing it to a production assistant whose hands trembled slightly as he took it. The cameras stayed trained on her as she turned away from the couch, her heels clicking sharply against the studio floor. Every step she took echoed through the room. The live feed cut suddenly to a commercial break, a bright, cheerful detergent ad that only amplified the awkwardness of what had just happened. Behind the scenes, chaos erupted. Producers were whispering urgently into headsets. One of them ran up to Jenna, who sat frozen in her seat, her hand still resting on her note cards. When the broadcast returned 3 minutes later, Jenna forced a smile that barely masked her discomfort. Well, she said, exhaling lightly, that was, certainly an unexpected moment. We wish Katherine all the best with her new show, Second Chances. Her co-hosts nodded awkwardly, trying to transition to a cooking segment that no one was paying attention to anymore. By the time the credits rolled, the clip was already spreading like wildfire. Someone in the audience had recorded the entire exchange on their phone, and within an hour, the hashtag Katherine Heigl was trending on X, Instagram, and TikTok. Headlines exploded. Katherine Heigl storms off. Today, in heated clash with Jenna Hager, Heigl strikes back, actress calls out sexism on live TV. Fans were divided. Some praised her for standing her ground, while others called her reaction dramatic and unprofessional. By noon, clips of the confrontation had amassed millions of views. Talk show hosts dissected it frame by frame, body language experts weighed in, and columnists debated whether Katherine had just sabotaged or saved her career. That evening, Jenna broke her silence on her Instagram story. Her post was diplomatic. Live TV can bring unexpected moments. I respect Katherine and the passion she brings to her work. Conversations like these remind us how powerful honesty can be. But Katherine's response came hours later, a single Instagram post featuring a black and white photo of her looking directly into the camera, her caption simple yet defiant. Standing up for yourself shouldn't make you a headline. It should make you human. The post racked up over 500,000 likes in just a few hours. Celebrities and fans flooded the comments, Reese Witherspoon, Viola Davis, and Mindy Kaling among them, voicing support for Katherine's candor. You said what needed to be said, one comment read. By the next morning, Netflix's Second Chances had surged to the platform's #1 trending show, driven by curiosity and admiration alike. Viewers who had tuned in to witness the fallout ended up staying for the series, and many praised Katherine's raw, fearless performance. As for Katherine, she didn't apologize. She didn't issue a statement. She didn't go on another talk show to explain herself. Instead, she went quiet, calm, resolute, and untouchable. Because, for once, she had walked off her way. And though the headlines would fade and the clips would eventually stop trending, one truth lingered: Katherine Heigl hadn't stormed off in anger, she'd walked away in power.